Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the review for this Narzo 30 5G smartphone. And I didn't post the unboxing video of this one. I decided that I'll just use this smartphone and directly post the review, so we'll do that. But let me actually show you what comes inside the box. And now we know that it is available via Flipkart. It was launched for 16,000 rupees in India, but today I checked Flipkart, it's showing me a price of about 15,500. And this is actually a 5G smartphone. And Realme says this is one of the most affordable 5G smartphones in India. And yes, technically sort of true for the variant that we are having. This one has 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. And guys, I would say the nearest competitor to this smartphone is from Realme itself. That's the Realme Narzo 30 Pro 5G, which I had reviewed a couple of months ago. I'll leave the link of that one in the description. Anyways, let's talk about this one. And first, let me show what comes inside the box. This is the box. We'll just keep that to the side. Obviously, we get the smartphone. We get this charger. This looks like a massive big charger, but this is just an 18-watt charger. And we also get this case in the box. So I'll just keep this to the side, and let's look at this handset itself, and I'll divide it between the pros and cons so that you can make an informed decision. How is this smartphone for your needs? Okay, first let's talk about the screen. And guys, here on this side, I'll just leave the specs so that you get an idea about the specs of the smartphones. And for the price, I feel it's a decent specs, considering 5G is not a gimmick on this smartphone. I'll talk about that. But yeah, first let's talk about the screen. And guys, this is having actually a 6.5-inch screen, and it's a full HD IPS LCD screen. And it's a 90 hertz screen that you are getting. And I did all my testing and usage at 90 hertz, not at 60 hertz, guys. And I have to say the screen is really good. One thing that I noticed immediately on the screen is that it is really bright. It's a very bright screen. As you can see, I'm just keeping it at pretty low brightness. So it's a very bright screen and a good quality screen. So in terms of screen quality, you don't have to worry. It is having that not 120, but 90 hertz refresh rate option is there on this one, as you can see. And by default it was at auto select, but I've forced it and used it at 90 hertz. The next thing is regarding 5G. I have to talk about this one. The good thing is that this smartphone supports 7 bands of 5G. Here are all the bands that it is supported. So I'm very happy with Realme in that department, because these days we are seeing gimmicks of just 1 band or 2 bands of 5G at a very high price. So that way, this is good. So whenever 5G comes, Jio is very serious about 5G. Airtel is serious about 5G. Eventually, it will come by the end of this year or next year. So that way, it's a good investment also if you like to keep smartphones for a long time. Okay, now let's move to the next thing. And in terms of build quality, guys, it's entirely made up of plastic, not glass or anything. But I like this back, guys. This is the silver color. At least in this color, it looks very good. It actually looks metallic from a distance, but this is again polycarbonate plastic. And I like what they did with the design. It looks nice, not that dare to leap or something that they used to do. So in terms of looks, I would say from the back also it looks nice. And this one also has that punch hole one, so it looks a little bit modern, I would say. As it's an IPS LCD screen, guys, we have the fingerprint scanner over here, and it's actually very responsive. As you can see, you just tap in and it works, so you don't have to worry about it. Another thing that is very important and many people forget about this is that, I don't know about you guys, but I take a lot of phone calls with the phones that I use, and here I have to say Realme did a very good job. Not only the cell reception was very good, it also supports Wi-Fi calling, works flawlessly, and earpiece quality is very good, loud and clear, and microphone pickup is also very good. Another thing that I liked is there was no proximity sensor issue on this smartphone, even for long calls. So if you're a person who takes a lot of calls, you don't have to worry about that with this specific smartphone. It's a very good smartphone that we are getting. So kudos to Realme for getting the basics right. I'm seeing a lot of smartphones are launching with fancy specs and stuff. They get the basics right, like the proximity sensor is bad, calls have issue. That is not the case with this one. So in that area, it's good. And if you even take calls, a lot of calls, long calls, no issues with that. Okay, next thing is regarding RAM, and I like this one also. This comes in just one variant, guys. 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. We don't have any other variants or something like that to confuse, so simple. And it has a thing called like virtual RAM. For example, if you go to the settings, this is like virtual RAM on computers using a swap file. They call this RAM expansion, and you can go up to about 5 gigabytes. I would say not to go up to 5 gigabytes, but you can just keep it at 2. I kept it like that. So to the operating system, it will look like this phone has about 8 gigabytes of RAM. But if you don't want to use it, you can actually disable it. Now, coming to the RAM management, the RAM management was actually pretty good on this smartphone. For example, Truecaller worked without any issues. It used to come, and also have this application called MyGate in our society. That's important. That was also not booted out of memory. So in terms of RAM management, they have actually done a good job on this smartphone. And coming to UI, guys, this is the typical Realme UI. Yes, there is some bloatware, but you can uninstall. There are some irritating apps like Hey Fun or something, but you can uninstall that. As you can see from this screenshot, initially I was getting some notifications via that, but I could disable it. Another thing is that you also have this browser app, and this also actually sends some notifications, but you can actually just use Chrome browser. Don't use this. Go to this one, go to app info. This also has a tendency to actually send notifications. Disable this picture in picture, and in manage notification, this is on by default, guys. Just disable that. And I did all this, then I'm not getting any notifications or any unwanted stuff on this smartphone. So yes, there is a little bit of bloatware installed, but most of that you could uninstall. Okay, now moving to the next thing, and in hand feel also, the smartphone feels nice to hold. And now let's also talk about the processor used on this one. This is the MediaTek Dimensity 700 SoC. That's why you have that 5G. And I have to say, this is a very good processor. In fact, the performance of the smartphone was very, very good. In fact, I also ran Antutu to give you an idea about the benchmark results on this smartphone. Let's look at that one. And as you can see, we got a very healthy score of 3,58,000, which is a very good score for a mid-range smartphone. And if we go over here, one thing that I really like, look at this. Okay, got some good score, but notice this temperature increase after running the benchmark. It just increased by 2.9 degrees Celsius. In many of the other phones, it goes above 4.5 degrees Celsius. So what does that mean? That means this smartphone simply does not heat up or anything like that in your usage. So that was actually a really good thing with this smartphone. No heating whatsoever. Some of you have asked me, no heating whatsoever on this smartphone. And RAM management was good. Again, I'm not a hardcore gamer, guys, but I did play Call of Duty on this one, and it played Call of Duty fine. And even after 20 minutes of gaming, it did not feel hot at the back. So that's good. But one thing to note is that, again, I saved that screenshot with Call of Duty. And where did I save the screenshot? Oh, no, this is okay. These are camera samples. I'll show you that later. Let me show you the screenshot that I saved. Okay. With Call of Duty, as you can see, the graphic quality maximum is just set to medium. Frame rate, you can go high. And I won't blame Realme regarding this. I think so MediaTek needs to work with game developers to give higher frame rates. That is something that I have noticed, because the chipset raw performance is actually pretty good. Now, again, if you want to know a lot more about gaming, check out some other reviewers who do primarily just gaming, guys. I just tested gaming because some of you wanted to know. And in Call of Duty, at that setting, it played fine. Now, let's also talk about the thing that I loved on this smartphone. And that was a big surprise to me. This one is having a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It's decent size. But I have to say, the battery life that I'm getting on the smartphone is nothing short of amazing. Let me actually show you the stats. For example, real time. Let's go to the battery over here. And right now, still we have 25% battery life, guys. And it's been off the charger now for 1 day. It says 17 hours 15 minutes, so over 1.5 days since I haven't charged it. And look at the screen on time, 10 hours 27 minutes, and it still has 25% left. I think so easily it'll go about that 12 hours of SOT. So the battery life is just bonkers and amazing on this smartphone. And I would say easily 1.5 days of worth of battery life that you can get with this smartphone. So again, that's thanks to this Dimensity 700 SoC. It's a very power efficient SoC. So in terms of battery life, you don't have to worry. This gets spectacular battery life. So guys, these were some of the good things. No, I completely forgot. Let's also talk about the camera. Again, we have a camera, that triple camera setup. The main is, just look at the main, that's the 48 megapixel. Other is a macro and a 2 megapixel. Just forget about that. And front we have this punch hole, and here are some of the sample shots that I've taken with this smartphone so that you can get a good idea. So here are some of the samples, and outdoors, as you can see, it does a good job. And this is 1x, this was the 2x, and this was 5x. I would say don't use 5x. And these was some shots taken in dull lighting, and it actually surprised me. And some human subjects, and as you can see, the skin tones were also produced very well. And this was with the front-facing camera. Again, the front-facing camera is also doing a good job. This was in the portrait bokeh mode. Now moving to completely artificial lighting, again here also, as you can see, it actually did a pretty decent job. This was in the portrait bokeh mode. In fact, it did much better than I expected, and these were taken with the front facing camera, and here I enabled the portrait bokeh mode. So guys, these were the good things with this smartphone. Now let's talk about the cons. And the first con is again regarding the camera. Instead of these two like meaningless cameras, those 2 megapixel depth and macro, they could have given an ultra wide. So ultra wide is simply missing on this smartphone. I feel that was a good addition. Another thing that I do not like is that it looks like a quad camera setup, but this is nothing. This is just a dummy thing. This just say the AI. So I don't know. That gimmicks continue. And next thing is again regarding the battery life. As I told you, the battery life is excellent on this smartphone. But the charger supplied is 18-watt charger. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad. The 18-watt charger is not bad. But we have seen some other smartphones in this price range coming with higher wattage chargers like 25 or even 30-watt charger. So there I feel Realme did a little bit of cost cutting. And also coming to the last thing, again this is nitpicking guys, I would say. Again, MediaTek needs to work with game developers, because I think so only when they work actively with game developers will actually give a higher frame rate settings in the game, because the processor is actually good. Overall, I would say I like this smartphone, and for the mid-range price of around 16,000, it's actually a pretty good smartphone. What I liked is the excellent battery life that we were getting on this smartphone. The camera is also pretty decent, and the call quality was also very good. And lastly, 5G I would say is not a gimmick on the smartphone. It has 7 bands of 5G. So guys, that was my review of this Narzo 30 5G. What do you guys think about the same? Do let me know in the comment section below. Anyways guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care guys.